Good morning. Thank you for tuning in to the Monalisa Monroe Morning Show. Grab your coffee or your tea, hunty, because we have a lot to talk about. But before we get started on those red hot topics, please go to my website, www.monalisamonroe.com. We've got t-shirts, we've got mugs, we've got toast. Believe me, we've got you covered. And also, you could purchase my book, Life After the Diagnosis. If you know a survivor or you are a survivor, this is the book that you need. Well, let's go ahead and get this party started right, shall we?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to the Mona Lisa Monroe Morning Show, honey. And like the commercial said, grab your coffee and your tea because we've got a. But before we get started, we want to give a shout out to our production company, Our Black Media Hunte. Please click the new feature on Facebook that allows you to send us stars. This helps support this platform and allows us to keep bringing you these programs. Click, like, and share the show. Leave a comment. Have a conversation with us. Baby, just like I told you last Thursday, March is Women's Month. And just yesterday, it was International Women's Day. Now, I didn't have a show yesterday because we come on Thursdays, but I brought you the smoke, honey. I got two ladies on the show today that is amazing. And I met them in the craziest places. But I said to myself, I've got to have them on the show. So don't let me trip out right now. I'm going to bring them on. I know y'all are like, who are you talking about, Mona Lisa? What are you talking about? Boom! Boom! Hey! How y'all
Hi,
doing
Monalisa.
this morning, hunties?
Well, how are you?
I got energy for everybody. I know, I
Yes.
know. Some people say, girl, it is too early for all of that
Yeah.
electricity. But you
No.
know what? I say to myself, if I don't bring it, who gonna bring it?
How are
So
you?
I want to start off by saying thank you for coming on the show today. And I'm going to allow each of you to introduce your beautiful selves to the audience. And then we're going to roll into the show. And let's start off with Ayana.
Well, thank you so much. First off, Mona Lisa Monroe. Welcome to new people because I have shared this out to you all, and I thank you for allowing me to be here. My name is Ayana Gunn. I also go by my middle name, Ayana Salah, and I am a Savannian. I own a spa, Savannah Wellness Lounge, which houses Sunflower Skin Bar. So if you are ever in need of some self care, some R&R, some skincare, body care, whatever the care is, we have it here at Sunflower Skin Bar. And I'm also a serial entrepreneur. So I've been a publicist. I've worked at record labels. I've done a lot under my business, Georgia Media Agency, which is still thriving. And I'm just excited to be here. So thank you so much.
I told you I was bringing fire. I told you. And Miss Daphne, go ahead, honey.
Thank you, Mona Lisa. Nice to meet you as well, Ayana. My name is Daphne Coffee Roberts. I'm the executive director of the Coffee Foundation here in coastal Georgia, Savannah, and the surrounding counties. I majored in business and sociology. I've always had and wanted to know what make people tick. Why do we do the things that we do? So I created the Coffee Foundation for youth and young adults, so we can kind of get to the bottom of it, of what they're going through, and set them up in their purpose, their future, and their foundation, um, to set them on a great journey. And thank you again for
Wonderful.
meeting me here.
Ooh, baby, that is awesome. Good morning, Mr. Brown. How are you? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Who else we got on here? Good morning, Derek. How are you, sir? Good morning. Good morning to you and to the
Good
queens.
morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. All right, then. I love it. I love it. We've got folks jumping on.
Mhm.
And while they come on, they got questions for you guys. And we're just going to start with Mona Lisa asking a few. So before we do that, I want to tell the audience how I met you ladies. Now, first of all, it was all just insane in the membrane, as they say back in the day. But I met Ayana. I'm talking about seriously. I'm doing business at a coffee shop, minding my own business until these two beautiful ladies I'm talking about in the midst of talking business. And I love to see women handling business. And so I went over there and I was like, girl, I love your hair. I love your hair. I love locks. I mean, and then boom, electricity. And
Mhm.
then here I am at a conference, and then I have me a seat at the Georgia, what was it? The Georgia Southern
Yeah,
Leadership Conference.
Georgia leadership. Georgia
And
Southern.
then here this beautiful woman is over here with these beautiful locks. I'm like, okay. So let's start with okay, we got a question. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Um, how how did you get started in business? So let's start with Daphne. How did you get started and what you do?
Listen, it was definitely not on my plan. It was nowhere in my plan. I was a manager at one of our big box retailers in Savannah, and I was in management, human resources, and one of my positions was bringing in talent, bringing in and staffing the store. And through that, a lot of youth. Savannah is a college town. I kept running into a lot of youth, and instead of me interviewing, I kept finding them. I needed to teach them how to interview, telling them what the questions were and what they meant, trying to just make sure that they interview properly. And I was like, man, our youth, we really need some help in this area. What is going on? So I had a void, went back to school at a late age, graduated, and I wanted to work in nonprofit, and I was inspired by Michelle Obama's Becoming book, and where she talked about how she left her law practice to work for Public Allies. And I was like, well, I looked into Public Allies. I was like, I'm going to work for them. And they didn't have a location near, I think the closest one is in Florida.
Wow.
I wasn't up for relocating. And so I looked at everything that Public Allies did, and I loved it. Savannah has a whole bunch of different organizations. I didn't see anything that kind of fit what I wanted to do. So I
Mm.
said, I'm going to create my own. And voila, the Coffee Foundation was born.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Hmm.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And I love Michelle's book, honey. I had to read that thing twice. It has
Yes,
saved me a lot of, oh my, anyway, we'll
yes.
get started in that in just a moment. But go ahead, Ayana, how did you get started in business?
So my answer is going to be a little complex, and the reason I say that is because I'm sure you all have had an experience where your mom or dad or your grandfather, somebody is owning a business and they need extra hands, extra help. And so
Oh Lord.
naturally, you just get into this groove of just wanting to be a servant and wanting to
Mm.
just, be of help. And so, from the very beginning ages and stages of my life, I can always recall and recount a memory of me just having, just that helping hand. So that
Mm.
nurtured me and groomed me into a space or a mindset rather where I was able to not only be an employee but be an employer. And so it
Oh,
gave me both sides of the coin. So the first business that I can really account that I started was in my dorm room. I graduated from Clark Atlanta University, class of 17. In 2015, I remember I literally was just very unhappy, and I think I was unhappy because it really set in that I was away from home. I was in college. I was my own adult, my own person. No one had to tell me what to do, how to do it, when to do it. And I just had this moment of is this all that there is to college? Like, I just felt like there was a disconnect. I am very in love with music, and so I started a radio show online similar to this platform, just allowing people to just have their intake and input and just having a good time. And so little after little, my friends from Savannah back home would say, "Hey, can I put my music on your show?" And I was like, "Why not?" And so I started asking people, "Hey, send me your music. I'm going to put it on after my 30-minute segment, or after I do my introduction, I'm going to go fade into some music. I'd rather be people who I want to support." A little after that is when I created an email, georgiamedia@yahoo.com. I realized that that email was going to be the business name for my company, Georgia Media Agency. And so it blossomed. I became a publicist. I've traveled the US, servicing clients, representing clients. I worked at record labels. Whatever you can think of, I've done it under this umbrella. And it all began in my dorm room because I just needed a getaway. I just needed something to tap into. Fast forward now, I'm owner of a spa here locally in Savannah, Georgia, which inspired me to get into skincare and self care. Of course, 2020, we all know what took place. I looked at myself in the mirror April 2020, and I was not pleased at what I saw. I was very uncomfortable with how my skin was, performing, and I made a decision that I wanted to heal myself by learning the anatomy of skin, learning how to, use certain things, whether it be organic or, something that has some chemicals in it, to find a way to cure my skin, which still to this day, it does what it wants to do. But it's all about internal versus
Wow.
external. And so now I have a spa because I learned through myself, healing myself, I've been able to do that for other people. And I have serviced, I'd say, about 500 to 1,000 clients over the last 3 years. And I'm just grateful to just be in this space, in this moment, in this time.
Whoa.
Wow, that is crazy. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so ladies, I'm getting some feedback. I don't know if are you guys hearing me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, maybe it's just my computer, but we'll keep flowing. We'll keep going because I don't they're telling me that they're getting feedback. So let me just keep going and maybe it'll straighten itself out. Okay, so that's awesome. And for me, my story is the same thing. I mean, it's weird. You start with basically an idea. You think that your idea is different. You think it's a niche. You think it's something that people need. And so you try your best to, not do it as a hobby type of thing. You want to be
Right.
a legitimate
Right.
business. And so you want to start whatever your niche or wherever your talent takes you. And so that's basically what happens. And for me, I'm new to Savannah. I'm from Dallas, Texas. And when I started my business, it was basically that. I love style. I love fashion, and so the more people came to me and asked me, "Oh, I like that," or "Ooh, where did you get that?" The more I said, "Well, you know what? I could go shopping for you. I could do this for you." And so I became a personal stylist, just a personal wardrobe stylist, and that's
Wow.
how I started. Doing what you love. You just don't even think about the time that you take. You don't even think what's required. You just do what you love. So that
Yes.
is amazing how both of you ladies are doing what you love to do.
Yes.
So what would you say to someone trying to get started in business? Oh my goodness. So Ms. Daphne, what would you tell someone that's trying to get started?
I would definitely tell them to do what it is that you love, like you just stated. Don't do something just because you think it makes a lot of money, because just because it makes a lot of money for you doesn't mean that it's going to make you happy. And you're going to be stuck
Okay.
into a situation to where you're miserable, because some people think, oh gosh, you got your own business. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It
Woo.
takes a lot of resources. So make sure whatever it is that you decide that you want to do, that you really want to do that and you don't mind putting in that work to get it done, because it's going to take a lot of determination, a lot of prayers, a lot of going to God and saying, "Is you sure this is what you want me to do?" And I think everything after that will start to line up for you. me, I'm from Savannah, but I don't have a lot of connects. I worked in corporate world. I worked in big box retail or either something inside. Didn't get a lot out in the community,
Mm.
so I was afraid because I felt I didn't know enough people. And they always say that it's all who you know. I didn't know anybody but God. And that's all I could depend on when it came to me starting up the business. And I just say, give me the platform, put the people in front of me that I need to be in front of so I can make this successful. Because at the end of the day, it's about the youth and how I want to help them. And everything else will line up after that. So when you say, I want to start a business, what is it that you want to do? Is it something that people need? Is it something that you can afford to take risks and chances on? Because if it's not, then you're going to set yourself up for failure.
Yeah, that's totally true. That is totally true. What would you say, Ayana?
Okay, I'm sorry, I had to unmute myself. So I wanna start off by sharing something that took place a few years ago. I don't know if you all can hear me. It looks like it's going out. Can y'all hear me?
Mhm.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So there was a client of mine, a potential client. We had a consultation, and he was telling me that he was an intern for a production company, and he was telling me that he wanted to create his own business, and he was ready to go from being an intern to his own boss. And that's usually the pipeline. Like, okay, I'm learning under someone, I'm someone's understudy. Now I'm ready to, go ahead and leap out on faith and do this myself. And
Hmm.
so what I realized was his energy and his intention behind becoming a business owner was not in alignment with his business model and what he was sharing with me.
Oh,
To say that when you want to start a business, why do you want to start a business? You understanding your why and your purpose, and you being able to visualize before it's tangible where you stand and where you are, is very important, because there are going to be moments where you're not going to have sales. There are going to be moments where someone may
ooh,
think that
ooh,
your
ooh.
business is reputable enough. There's going to be times where you're not going to be mentioned or spoken of. What are you going to do in those midst of those times?
That's
How are
right.
you going to prevail? He kept on saying that he was ready to make money. He was tired of being an intern, yada yada. Right? We all have been there. I have been there. Um,
Yes.
so what I asked him, I said, if I myself were to hire you right here on the spot, how much would you charge me for X, Y, and Z? He couldn't tell me. So you're ready to make money, but you don't know how much you even want to charge. You don't even have a price point in your head. You
Oh
can't
my gosh.
you can't even tell me, if I was to ask you right now or tell you, hey, my budget is X amount of thousands of dollars. I want you to come on board and do this for me. How do you know you're not being underpaid?
Man, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Put a pin right
Yes.
there. How about we have to stand on what our value is? How about that? Because
Yes.
a lot of businesses, well, put it like this: if you're not sure of your skills and
Hmm.
your talent, then you will undervalue yourself. Well, how
Hmm.
much is so and so? Well, no, 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 no. If you are for sure in what you do, then
Yes.
the price is what it is. Oh
Absolutely.
my goodness, what did DJ Khaled say? The price is the price. Is that what he said?
That's exactly what he said.
The price is the price. So you gotta be sure. You have to be sure. And on
I think
top
it
of
was
that, a lot of people feel like if they start their business, they won't work as hard as a 9 to 5. How about you work harder when you own your own business?
Yes. Yes.
You think you work 40 hours a week. How about 60? How about
It's
baby,
not like
please? I want to start my own business so I don't have to work my 9 to 5. Baby, you better get your priorities straight because you
yes.
will be doing that. Trust me and believe me. What would you say your strengths and victories are or were? Ooh, Ayana, let's hear about that, honey.
That's a great question. I would say that my strength is foresight. I have a great ability to be able to foresee what's coming down the road, what's coming around the corner. And whenever someone asks me a question on day one, I'm able to answer it on day one because I've taken into account day 45, day 1,000.
Wow.
So that's a strength of mine that I think that every business owner should have. Another strength of mine is I am one of my mottos for Clarkland University is culture for service. And so when you have a culture for service, you're never going to have a upset customer. You're never going to have someone who is willing to speak out against your business because you're so close knit with your client that you understand them, you know what they like, you know what color they love, you know what scent they love. You are really identifying what this person loves. So I'm really a stickler for customer service. I always envision, I'm gonna be real. I always envision my mom, and I always think about the small complaints that she has at a drive-through, the small complaints at a
Ah,
hotel, the small complaints that she'll call her friend and say, "Girl, I went to so and so. I'm never going back. They did not such and such."
yes.
Think about those intricate things because in all ways, that's customer service not being performed properly. So those are my strengths and victories. I'm always able to let a client walk away with a smile on their face. And even if they're not a client for me, because that's a real topic right there too. Everyone's not your client, and that's okay. You cannot service everyone in the world. But just knowing that there does not have to be a disconnect. So that's my victory of just having that moment of clarity with my clients and myself and my
Yes.
business, and just knowing that I can overcome anything with just being transparent and just being a servant to my community and to my clientele.
Awesome. Miss Daphne, bring the noise, girl.
Well, I would definitely say that my strength is just being a servant. Number one is being a servant leader. There's no other way that I can put it. I look to help, train, educate, guide in any type of way that I can. And my victory is where I can inspire those to do even better and go beyond what they thought that they could. So when people that I've worked with or trained have come back to me and say, "You inspired me," or "What am I going to
Yes.
do without you?" Or when I move from location to location and they'll say, what am I going to do without you?" Then I know that I played a pivotal part in their success and their comfortability and their talent as well. So that is being a servant leader and being able to see that those people grow from what they've learned from me. So those are my victories.
Man, when I tell you, you ladies nailed it to the cross. Do you hear me? Because how can you be a business owner and you don't have a servant's heart?
Right.
What
Mhm.
in the world? It's just like being a preacher and you don't like people. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's like for me, customer service is everything. I don't even care sometimes about the price. If you know how to treat me, then
Mhm.
I
Yes.
will drive across the way to get to you. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you wonder why Chick-fil-A is number one in
Yes.
customer. I mean, because Chick-fil-A ain't nothing but chicken, a pickle, and some bread. That's it. But the customer service, how can I please you? What in the world? I'm
Yes.
telling you, it's everything. So I just recently I was listening to I was listening to a sermon, and they said that Chick-fil-A has a culture, uh Golden Chick, or what is that, Church's Chicken has a culture, and Popeye's Chicken has a culture. So it just depends on what you feel like that day. And to be
Yes.
honest with you, I don't like the culture in some of these establishments because
Yes.
I don't want to pull up and you go, "How can I help you?
Mhm.
Yes.
Are you sure you want to
Yes.
help?"
Let
Or,
let me let me add.
uh,
Or go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I always use the Chick-fil-A model in my orientations. When I hold orientation, and I always use Chick-fil-A. I say, "Why do you think the line is wrapped around the corner and it isn't like take Mall Boulevard in Savannah? You'll have Checkers, Chick-fil-A, Wendy's across the street. Chick-fil-A has a line all the way around the corner. They
Mhm.
have the people, the product, and the service. And they're not even they're not inexpensive. They're not cheap. So why would someone say this is what I want? Because people know what they want, and they're going to
Yeah.
give their money to where they are being pleased and service. And I always use them. I say, where are they getting the people from? These are the same people in Savannah. We're pulling from the same pools,
Look.
hire
Mhm.
people. So why are they? Just look at it. Look at Whole Foods workers versus
Right.
Walmart workers. Look and ask yourself. It's what they tolerate. It's the culture of the businesses, and then that's what I want my employees or associates to do for
Yes.
customers when they come into our establishment, on my main job where I get benefits and stuff. And I want to portray that and teach that in the Coffee Foundation as well. I want to teach these kids, listen, look at, it's all about your experience. The
That's it.
experience, the experience depicts your reaction. How you react is going to be, it's going to tell a lot about who you are. Let's try to control our reactions and understand what we're becoming when we react in a wrong way or when we react in a good way. How is this experience helping us? I believe in we are where we are supposed to be right here. Me, you, and Ayana is not supposed to be anywhere right now, but where we are supposed to be right now because we
Right.
are creating an experience for ourselves, each other, and the viewers to learn from, to react to, and how you're going to take that and teach another person or learn from this it says a lot about you. And so we have to be able to be a servant leader and be able to look at our experiences and see what can I do with this.
Man, I'm telling you, because when you really think about it, and my son works for Chick-fil-A, right? My 18-year-old. And the model of Chick-fil-A, the model that they hire people that they sense and feel that are pleasant.
Yes.
You, you don't have to work a day in your life, but if you come and you go, "Hi, how are you?" Chick-fil-A already go, "Oh, I like their personality. I like who,"
Mhm.
because he had no experience,
Yes.
none.
Hmm.
But if you are a pleasant, joyous person, they create that from the gate. They don't just hire people because they need some seats filled. They hire
Right.
people that they feel like, look, I don't have to take everybody. I don't need you.
No.
So why do we feel like we have to do that? You know what I mean? The McDonald's of the world or the Burger King of the world or the Popeyes of the world. You don't have to hire people if you don't want to.
No.
You need to hire the best.
We used to cannot, one of my other employers, when we interview, if they did not smile, soon as they sat down, they told us not to hire them. If they
See?
did not smile when they came to, don't even hire them. Just like you say, they want to see that in the beginning because they're not going to fool up with a whole bunch of, just poor customer service because
Exactly.
because you're having a bad day.
Customer service is 80% of it. I'm telling you. I
Yes, and
mean,
so
Hilton honors, Marriott, all of these hotel establishments and all. I don't care how nice your hotel is.
Mhm.
If I don't get a person to come greet me and tell me how you doing, I,
that's right.
I don't
That's
need to be
right.
there. I do not need to be there.
No, they don't need to be there.
Okay.
They don't need to be there.
Oh, now this right here. Thank you, audience. How did you overcome hard times? Ooh, Daphne.
So
Tackle it.
listen,
Tackle
listen. I
it.
run a nonprofit organization. I don't get paid for what I do. So when I tell you, when you're investing in yourself and you're
Oh,
using all of your money to help
ooh.
someone else, it's easy to turn it to throw in the towel.
Yeah,
One of my hardest things is running this organization and trying to, and it's because it's fairly new, just over a little about 3 years old, and 2 of those years were taken by COVID.
yeah.
So it's for children, it's for youth. Do you know how it feels to hold an event for youth, and then when you hold the event, no one shows up? You know,
Girl.
you got I mean, I got everything. I got the curriculum. I got I mean, the branding is there, but that doesn't really do anything. But I got everything set up how I would want to be inspired for these children. But the children don't show up. That is a hard time because it makes you say, what is it? How do I do it? How, I can talk all day. I'll have 25 kids register, and on a 50 kid roster, and
Mm,
10 show up, 5 show up. And I had to
wow.
look at it and say, God, and I told my team, if we just reach one, if I reach one,
Man.
that's good enough for me for now. That's good enough for me because I've reached that one, and I pray that they will get what they need. And then somebody was going to see the difference in that child and say, where did they get that from? Why are they like that? What happened
Woo.
to them? And then they're going to reroute them right back to the Coffee Foundation and say, can sign me up, sign him up, sign her up. So that's what I want to do. I want to be in those spaces, get in those rooms, and let people see how different the Coffee Foundation can be. So when I created the business from the earlier question, I had to see who is my target market. Who do I want to reach? I want to reach those kids who may not be honor roll students, who may not be, because they get selected for a lot of stuff. I want
Mhm.
to get broken. I want to get the laws. I want to get, and so it's hard to get those because they ain't coming. They ain't gonna be
Right,
like, all right, unless they got a really involved parent to say, get out there, go. You know how our parents used
right,
to make us
right.
get up, put on some clothes, and go. So one of the things that I had to overcome, that was a hard time for me. It is still a hard time for me, but I'm just going to keep pushing through. I'm going to revamp it. I'm going to look. I'm going to keep talking to people to see how can I get these kids. How can I get some literature into the schools to know what the Coffee Foundation is about. But you got to keep pushing. You got to keep thriving. You got to keep going. That's all I can see
Woo.
to it. Keep going.
I heard that. Girl. Ayana, help a sister. How did you overcome hard times? Woohoo!
So I would say that number one is prayer, prayer,
Oh,
prayer, 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 some more prayer, a little bit more sprinkled on top, a little bit more after that. I'm very serious though. Prayer changes things. Prayer changes people. It changes
mm,
the situation. I literally the past few days in this week, I've been waking up out of my sleep, still in
Mhm.
prayer, still communicating with God. The way that I went to bed is how I woke up, just in communication. Um,
okay.
is a huge component of my belief system. And in addition to prayer, meditation has been groundbreaking in my self care, my wellness, and how I overcome things, how I can recalibrate myself. The thing is, we charge our phones, we charge our tablets, we charge everything, but we don't recharge ourselves. Like,
Yes.
what does that look like for you? What does recharging, because it may not really be an obstacle, it's really you're not sleeping well enough, you're not balanced, you're not drinking enough water, you're disproportionate, so now your viewpoint is disproportionate as well. So it's really about getting back in alignment with yourself so that you can make conscious decisions, so that you can know how to overcome things, because sometimes your mind is not in the space it needs to be to make certain decisions. So what does that look like? How do I get myself back on the court? If I have a client and my client, I need them to do certain things, and who is holding myself accountable? How am I going to do that for someone else if I can't present that in my own self? So overcoming things for me in hard times looks like journaling, and not just writing something down, but just talking to myself. Visual journaling, audio journaling, just different ways to just express what's on the inside. Sometimes I
Yeah.
would put on my recorder and I would literally listen back to it. I'm like, Ayana, you didn't say anything for 5 minutes. And that's good because I allow myself to think it out,
Mhm.
feel it,
Mm,
and then if I wanted
Mhm.
to express it, then I can express it. And I think that the misconception that a lot of us have, specifically people that look like us, is we are afraid to be vulnerable. We're afraid to say, "Hey, I'm not."
oh,
We're afraid to be weak, to look weak. But it's like strength is when you are able to acknowledge something's off.
Yes.
Trying to be this strong man, this strong woman, this and that. Be who you are in this season. Daphne, you said something earlier. We are where we're supposed to be in this moment in time. That's not just about this episode. That's about life,
Right.
about this chapter,
Right.
Yeah.
about this
Mhm.
moment as far as our identity, our faith, our finances, what we look like, how we feel, our friendships, our marriage, whatever. You are
Yes.
where you're supposed to be on purpose. What are you going to do with that time? What are you going to do in
Yeah.
this moment right here? Because at some point you prayed to be where you are now. What you going to do with this time? So if it's a hard time
Yes.
for you, be honest with yourself, pray, be vulnerable with yourself. If you don't have not one person in this world that you can seriously trust, my mama always said you need to have at least one person you can call in any season, any storm, any celebration that can be there for you and they can see you, because silence is loud when you have a friend who notices,
Mhm.
Mona Lisa,
Girl,
Mona
wait a
Lisa,
minute.
Mona Lisa
Did you
ain't
say silence is loud?
silence is
Girl,
very loud. It's very loud if
oh
you
my, I
allow it to
love
be.
it.
If you allow it
Wait
to
a
be.
minute.
So that's
Let
just
me
the ways that I overcome things, by just being honest with myself and like, you know what, Ayana, things ain't going too well. It might be time for you to close your books, go home, pray, and start over. I may have a nasty attitude some days. I'm being real. I may be so viciously angry, and it's not even against nobody. It's just my own internal battles. And I have to say, we ain't doing that today. Let me start over. Let me talk to God. Let me meditate. Let me journal. Let me take a
yeah,
walk. Let me drink some water with some mint and some cucumber and some lemon up in there and detox
yes.
and get it together. And I feel better when you come out on the other side. And that's
Oh,
what becoming looks like for me. That's just a few things that I can do to overcome some of those hardships and stuff like that. But just being real with myself, that's the step number one, being real.
Yes.
man, like I said, you guys brought it today because when you said, Daphne, you're where you're supposed to be right now. Think about how powerful that is. And
Mhm.
I've heard a preacher say one time, you're where you are right now because of the decisions you've made.
Hmm.
Do
Yes.
you know how deep that is?
Yes.
When you make bad decisions,
Hmm.
you are in a bad situation.
Yes.
Think
It's an
about
ex-
where you are.
yes.
That's because of the decisions that you have made. Oh my,
That's
that
right.
just
Yeah.
blew.
It creates an experience. An experience give off an emotion. An emotion we say if it's a bad experience, we're shameful about it, we're mad about it, we're angry about it, whatever emotion that experience gives off, we take that and we move on to our next step
Hmm.
from that emotion, right? So
Right,
say it's a say the leadership conference that we attended, it made us feel good, like a church revival. It pumped
right,
you up, it got you moving. The next day you hit the ground running because you were revived. It made us feel good. And from
right.
that, we made some great connects. Look what happened in that experience at that time. I met you.
Mhm.
I actually remember you from the year before, but I didn't get a chance to meet you. But it's just how it's supposed to work. So
Hmm.
I met
Right,
you. Now I pray for God to put me on a platform where I can meet more people. People can see and know about the Covenant Foundation. Voila, look what that experience created. A text message from somebody who I shared information with, from networking, from being at an event, and voila, here I am. This is going to set off another experience. But say that experience was something bad, something traumatic, something
right.
shameful. Then we internalize that, we hold on to it, we hide it, we cover it. The next thing you know, that's going to set a different journey, a different path. It's going to it will make me change my character, change my habits, change the things that I do, change who I am. It may hinder me, it may put me back, it may set me up and put me in even more worse experience because I'm vulnerable. I'm weak. I don't know what
Right.
to do. I'm shameful about it. You know, and we can't be that way. We have to be able to be aware of our emotions and know what direction is taking us when we experience things. So learn as much as you can, meet people, have a discernment rather what this experience can do for you, and then it's going to prepare you into the next phase, the next experience. Our whole life is made up of nothing but experiences, and those
Yeah.
experiences us to the next level. And that's why we are where we are supposed to be, because of how we reacted to an experience that we had.
That's right. Your life is the trajectory of wherever you land.
Yeah.
So think about it. When we were born, we were launched. Okay. So your decisions take you
Yeah.
wherever you land.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean, what?
Just
So
think about a
so
baby. Yeah. Just
yeah,
like
think
a
about
baby. We're responsible for all of the experience that a child may have. I have a grand, and I'm really delicate with her, and I'm learning the things that I didn't learn with my children. It doesn't Parenting doesn't come with a handbook. I made some mistakes with it, with and I should have done more. And I've told them that, you know what, I really should have hugged you more. I really should have told you I love you more. And now we get a second chance with life, whether it be our children or someone else's children. And I'm speaking on children because that's what my foundation is about. And
that.
we're responsible for putting them and giving them great experiences. They're going to learn from us. They mimic everything that we do. We see it on social media all day. They're like sponges, but they're also resilient. And so here we are, we have these children, and we argue in front of them. That attaches to them. We teach them how to cook. That attaches to them. So make sure that we are putting them in great atmosphere, or putting them in a situation where they don't have a bad, just say a bad experience. Using my words.
Yeah.
And so we're responsible for them. And as they grow up, wherever they go, they're going to go out into the world, and then they'll know who they are. Because that's really where it started from. Do you know who you really are? I didn't for the
Mm,
longest time know who I was. And that was also another thing that helped me with the foundation. It's not a foundation because it's a business or it's corporate. It's called the Coffee Foundation because it's the things that taught me who I am and made me who I am. And so I didn't know who I was. So I said, who am I? And who am I? And when I started digging into why I am the way that I am, it came from the foundation that I was brought up on. So as we guide and teach and educate one another, think about how you're influencing people and make sure that you're doing the right thing when it comes to it. I got all off. I'm just going off on the.
no, that's what you're supposed to say, because basically you're saying what we've been saying for the last 2 minutes. It's like, give your children a chance to prosper by putting them in positions so where they can basically launch into something that is productive, or who is productive. And I was always told growing up, don't just take up space. Be
Yeah.
when you come in the room, people supposed to go, okay, now who is that? Because you have changed the atmosphere. The
You do that.
universe is, you know,
You do that. You do that. Think about
well,
what you said at the conference. Remember you said the arts influence
yes.
you, who you are, yeah. Who put you in that? Who got you started with that? Who influenced you with the arts?
You know what? It's funny because you always sort of arrive because of who you are and what your name is, or what your
Mhm.
parents have instilled in you. So Mona Lisa, the name Mona Lisa itself, I was already in the arts, sort of like this because of my name, I feel
Yeah.
like. So when I stood in front of an audience and was performing, and I was in the ninth grade, and the energy that I felt on stage, I was like, this is it. So from God, what
Mhm.
God has put you in place to do, whether that's speaking, whether that's acting, whatever it is, you feel like it's an extension of who you are. And so I just needed someone to invest or believe in that part of me.
Yes.
And like I was saying, that I was telling, at the conference, one person, which was the theater teacher, she paid for me to go to camp and it was like, I think it was like $2,000, $3,000, and that's a lot of money back in the day.
This is
And
a lot of
she,
money now.
okay, and she invested in me. She believed in me to the point to where I was like, well, if she paid that kind of money, let me, and then that's what makes you want to at
Yes.
least bring
Nugget.
back the, let me
Yes.
at least have her make a good investment on me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You don't
So
want to let her down.
yeah, you don't want to be a bad investment. Come on now.
Hmm.
But that's good stuff, you ladies. I love it. Oh my gosh. So so put it like this, ladies. When you see other females, because you know what the mess is, black folks or black women can't be in the same space without somebody getting
Yeah.
jealous or somebody whatever, whatever, whatever. What do you ladies feel about Savannah and its women's network? Because I think it's about 500 women's groups and networking circles. And I'm very particular with my energy. So, Ayana, how do you feel about these circles, these networking circles in Savannah? I'm just gonna speak on Savannah because that's where we are.
Well, I'll first start off by saying that every person is different and they have different things that they are interested in. And so I feel that having multiple groups, I don't see it to be a disconnect or like trying to kind of close and shut out people. I think it's more so like how do we cater to certain, concerns, because everyone,
Right.
if there was one mass group, would it be as effective? So, to answer that question about the different groups, I'm not in a lot of them. I'm more in like just networking business groups, more so, not really women
Mm,
specific. But I do have a few that, it's sometimes it's engagement. Sometimes it kind of starts off with a high momentum and then it kind of just goes flat.
falls off.
And so I think that is something I want to more so reflect on. I think that when you know why you're doing something, you have to see it through. You start
Mhm.
with the end in mind. And so sometimes something may not be a 2 year thing. Something may just be for the purpose of 6 months. So it's important for
That's
people when they start streamlining these ideas and these initiatives, hold yourself accountable and ask for help if you need some help when it comes to keeping that momentum going. So that's how I want to answer that portion of the question. And then I also want to say, as far as networking in Savannah, because I've lived in Atlanta for 7 years. So from 2013 to 2020, I lived in Atlanta. I went to be a college student. I stayed a few years after COVID came and went, and I made a decision to move away. I broke my lease, moved to Jacksonville, which is where I created a space for me to learn about aesthetics and become an esthetician. Once I did that in Jacksonville, I then moved to Savannah in 2021. So from 2021 until now, I'm new to Savannah. I'm from here, but it's a whole new world. The last time I lived here, I was a 17-year-old high school student. I am a 27-year-old woman now. So it's a huge difference
Yeah,
of
that's true.
there, it's like I'm learning Savannah all over again as a woman, not as a young adult. And so I'll be very transparent. Some rooms I feel embrace, other rooms it's like a danger zone, and I'm just being
Yeah,
extremely, courageously saying this because I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but between my friends, I'm like, hey, I don't think she likes me. And it's unfortunate because you don't even know that person, but you get that aura and that energy where
yeah,
why are you here, or who are you, or why do you think that you should be present? And I think that it's important for us to be transparent and to address these things because it happens. We always
that's
talk about, philanthropy and collaboration and opportunities coming, but then in the same room, you got a woman who's looking at you like, oh, you're not deserving. And they may not say it, but energy it never lies. And so I think that
mm,
that's something that really is heartbreaking for me, because I think that we already are disproportionate when it comes to resources, being spoken of for opportunities. And so for us to naturally just already be women who have this component of who are you, as opposed to, hey, how are you? How are you doing? Are you new?
oh, I like that.
I remember when we were at the Southeast Georgia Leadership Conference, we were on break, you and I, Mona Lisa, and we were talking about John O'Leary, I believe his name is, in his text message,
Yes.
everything. As we finished discussing that, there was a woman who walked past, and you naturally said to me, "Do you know her?" And I said, "No, I don't." And you said, "Well, let's meet her." And you said, "How are you doing?" And we had that moment in time, and we was able to have that moment to express, "Hey, how are you? I love what you're wearing." Have that barrier to let you know, "Hey, I come in peace." And
Right.
then what do you do? How can I support you? How can you support me? Here's my business card, here's my email, here's my Instagram. And then relationships are then formed. But if I was to look at you and say, "Oh, I don't know her," and she heard me, how would that have gone? Now a year later, she could always remember that one moment that I said, and it just is it's disastrous, it's nasty. I don't
Yes.
like it. It makes me overthink. I've experienced that a lot since being here, and so not to take up too much more time, but I think that's something that we as women need to, number one, realize that it's happening. Number two, how can we bring back shame, because we need to be shaming people for treating people that way, because you're discouraging people who are trying to take a step further. It's like a punch in the face, a punch in the heart when you treat a woman like they're inadequate, or that they're not seen, they're not heard, they're not deserving. And I know I'm not the only one that experiences it, because I have it in my friendship topics all the time. Like, "Oh yeah, this person, I don't think that they really embraced me." So how do we overcome that? Because that's a hardship that I want us as local women, to just do a better job to embrace the next woman. And if you're not going to hurt, if you're not going to help, don't hurt.
I love it. Absolutely. Daphne, did you want to speak on that as well?
Yeah, I think that you ladies did sum it up just briefly. Social capital is something that we really have to be careful about. We
Ooh,
all
social
see,
capital.
yeah.
Shut the door.
Social capital is something that we have to really be careful about, because when we look for that, we look for participation, we look for networking, we look for to be included. And when we feel like we're not included, we can step into the spaces that we don't belong in, and that's where we can go and get that wrong experience that we talked about earlier. So we have to be careful about the spaces that we are in, and just because it's a group, because the wrong person can say, "You come here, be a
Mm,
part of our group," and you like, "Oh, I'm a part of a club,
right.
I got a sense of belonging, they want me." And when we enter those rooms and we're not wanted, then we can set ourselves up, or for something that we're not expecting or not equipped to handle. And that goes for adults, that go for children especially. Be careful about the social capital that you are trying to be a part of. So if it doesn't feel right, just politely excuse yourself. Everybody doesn't have to like everybody, because there's enough people in the world for you to be able to connect to. And if it's not, sometimes we have to look at the common denominator and say, is it me? So that's just allowing yourself to just kind of see how you appear to people as well. So if you don't feel comfortable, or we don't feel comfortable, then definitely bring it up, talk about it. But if it's not, we just move on, and we have to do that for our sanity, for our self care, like you said earlier, Ayana. We don't need that noise in our headspace telling us
You
that we're
know,
not good enough.
oh my goodness. That's so all of this was scrumptious. Okay, I'm a foodie, y'all. All of this had salt, seasoning, paprika, all of that stuff going on. And I also want to tag on to you ladies and say this. EI, emotional intelligence, right? A lot of people feel like analytically, this might not be my circle or my group or my whatever, but emotionally, what are you needing emotionally? And
Mhm.
women are relational. And so when you said, basically, I mean, I'm not feeling I'm not feeling acceptance, or I'm not feeling friendship, or at least associate feel, I'm not feeling any of that. all at the same time, what are you spewing? You know,
Mhm.
because a lot of times I'll go into a circle and you guys, I'm not saying something that you guys don't know from me already. I'll go and, hey, how are you? Ooh, girl, I like your shoes.
Yes,
And like
yes,
you said, this is a olive branch. I'm sort of saying, hey, I'm safe. I'm okay. You know, I feel like you're valuable. So let me just pick something that we could talk about for at least 30 seconds or
yes.
whatever. So all at the same time, I got to present myself as friendly. Like the Bible says, if you want friends, so show yourself friendly.
Yes.
So we have to be accountable for our energy as well. So man, all of this was good stuff.
It
So
was
my
good.
experience here in Savannah, I'm choosing to have a good day. Okay. So if someone's not vibing on my vibe or on my electricity bolt, then that's cool. You don't have to vibe with me, you know, because when I first got here, it was right before the pandemic. And a lot of people were going through some things. I don't know what you're going through at home. And so I can't safely say, oh, something wrong with her. Well, something might be wrong with her. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really say I'm not likable or she didn't like me because people got personal stuff going on. So, but all at the same time, I didn't feel Savannah at first. I was like, what is this? This is a different culture. This is a different vibe, you know. So I tried to fit in and I was not doing well at all. And I had to step back and say, okay, am I losing who I am
Mm,
to try to fit in? And
right.
then I just had to step back and say, wait a minute, Mona Lisa, you got this is you. So whoever accepts you is going to be who you need to be with, you know. And so I stopped talking about how Savannah is not this and not that. I'm just bringing me to the
Yes,
space.
yes. I love
And
it. I love it.
that's just what it is. I'm just bringing me to the party.
Mhm.
So I want to thank you ladies for entertaining the show today with intellect, emotional, and relational vibes. I just love you ladies. I really, really do. And we got a question. How can people get in contact with you for more information about who you are, what you do, your companies, or you know, whatever the case may be? How do we find you, Ayana?
So you can find me on a more personal level, my personal brand. The best way to get in contact with me is through my Instagram, which is underscore Ayana Salah. That's AYANASALA. In the bio is my link tree with everything that I do on a personal and professional level. If you wanted to come in for a self-care day, Sunflower Skin Bar is my company, and that's found on Instagram and on our website. You can also use the same thing. Go to Sunflower Skin Bar on Instagram. There's a link in the bio, and it'll take you to everything. We have an upcoming event called Sunflower Nights. It's our inaugural event. It's going to be virtual. It's next week on the 15th from 7 to 8, and we may prolong it because we're going to let Spirit do what Spirit does. It's virtual, and it's for anybody, man, woman, boy, or girl. It's for you to understand how to establish harmony and understanding how to establish self-care in your personal life. So really just having that tune up for your spirit, for your body, for you to, be more prepared for what is destined for you. So that'll be next week, Wednesday from 7 to 8 on Zoom. And it's free of charge. It's for everyone, and it's on our website, and it's on our Instagram, Sunflower Skin Bar.
Well, I know I'm gonna get a link, so I'm not even gonna worry about it.
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
Miss Daphne, can you tell people how to contact you, love?
Yes, you can reach me at thecoffeefoundation.com. Simple as that. It has all the other links to my other information, thecoffeefoundation.com. That's the website for my nonprofit organization. What we have coming up soon, we are working with, because we were just granted by the city of Savannah and the Office of Neighborhood and Safety Engagement. we got a calendar coming up where we're going to be engaging the kids in some really great workshops. Oh, I'm so excited about it. It'll be posted up on the website as soon as I get the clearance to post it, because I have to promote the city's logo with it. And you got to sign your kids up. Sign your kids up. Thecoffeefoundation.com.
Awesome sauce. Thank you, ladies. I enjoyed you. Mwah. I'm not going to keep you from your day because I know you're busy. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful morning. Take care. Love
Thank you
you.
for having me.
You love you too.
Click like and share the show. Thank you so much, fam. Morning, morning, morning. Oh, I love business. I love women. I love women in business. The Monalisa Monroe Morning Show. Click, like, and share. It is March Women's Month, and we will have women on the show each Thursday, honey. So we want you to tune in, click, like, and share the show. If you missed the show, that's okay. Hit replay. That's all you got to do. Thank you so much again for tuning in to the Monalisa Monroe Morning Show. I enjoyed you. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your viewership. Thank you for click, liking, and sharing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will see you next Thursday. And we have a pre-show, so don't even miss it. Pre-show comes right after this. Love ya. Bye-bye.